everyone. Madman bringing another RSL video. Today we are going to tackle floor 21 through 29 with our HP Burn CC comp. And then we are going to take on the Griffon as well as Secret Room 3. To start with, we have Apoth, who's missing some sort of immortal weapon there, but his stats, almost 39,000 HP, almost 3,000 defense, 230 speed, so we want him pretty fast. You can go 100% crit rate, but not necessary. The big thing for me was 417 resist, so getting over 400 resist, because he does not have passive healing. Don't really care about his A1, but it's booked because he's a rare. We do care about his A2 because of his 35% HP heal, and it can be critical, so that's why you can build up the crit rate if you want. And then increase speed on all allies by 30% plus a 15% turn meter fill. On his A3, he does have a defensive in dungeons aura. But the reason we went high resistance is so that he doesn't get stunned, feared, or whatnot, so that he can do his healing and speed, because that's the only reason he's in there. His masteries, we came down the defensive tree to help him with the resistance, plus give him some counterattack. And then the support and Master Hex are here, so that his increased speed might stay on a turn longer. So that is Apothecary. Next we have Vrask and Immortal, and then Broken sets. Almost 90,000 HP. Don't really care about his attack or his defense. Would like him a little bit faster. Do need 100% crit rate. The rest of it does not really matter. You don't need to book his A1. He doesn't hit that hard, but it can give you a turn meter boost if it's critical, which is why you put 100% crit rate. Don't care about his A2. It does hit a little bit harder, but don't really care about that at all. Big thing is his passive. Heals allies by 10% of his HP. So you want high HP. If the attack is critical, 100% crit rate. A defensive in dungeons aura there is slightly helpful, but not too much. Again, down the defensive tree, chances to counterattack and resist there, and then spirit haste. So if someone goes down, you can start healing anybody else who's left, hopefully a reviver. But Vrask again is used for his passive healing, and you want him to get around to that as much. Ideally, maybe a relentless set, or probably more a counterattack. I don't know that not reflect. I can't think of it where it reduces the cooldowns. Anyway, I would say some type of counterattack and or relentless set would work on him, or one of the few people that curing would help because it gives a little bigger heal. But that is Vrask. So next we have J-Reg and an Avenging set, which would work on Vrask as well. And an accuracy set, 83,000 HP. Don't really care too much about his attack. 2,600 defense. Don't care too much about that. 212 speed is important. 312 accuracy is fine now. Not so great for the higher end, but he is booked, especially on his A1, because you want a full 50% chance of placing that 50% decrease attack for 2 turns. That's what he's really here for. We don't care about his A2. In fact, I don't really recommend using it, because without a secondary ally protector, if you don't make him super beefy, he's going to take a lot of damage and go down quick. But then his passive as well, continuous heals whenever an ally loses 20% more of their max HP in one hit. That's going to happen. He's going to place up those continuous heals. So those are the 2 reasons we want J-Reg in there. His masteries to help us do it. Counterattack on the defensive side, and then accuracy on the supportive side, so that we land the decrease attacks when we're counterattacking or attacking. But again, another support champion and J-Reg there. We've seen Syl many times before, but Relentless and Perception. You can see her stats there. She is fully booked. stuns for the waves, revives as needed, and again, passive healing. Her masteries again, defensive tree, get a little resistance, counterattacks, help with that decreased speed, and then down the left side here, the support tree, lasting gifts so she can extend any buffs such as stuns, and that is Syl. And lastly, we have Drex here. He's pretty much our only really true damage dealer, and not by much, but he is in perception and regen. Would like that to be in lifesteal, but regen is probably second best to help him heal back up. He is up to almost 51,000 HP. He does have close to 5,000, but 4,800 defense, 216 speed. We want it fairly fast. If you're going to go lifesteal, you're going to want 100% crit rate, so regen is not a bad option. And some crit damage, but we do want him to have accuracy, so he's at 325 there, because we want him to land this HP burn. Don't care about this A2 provoke, not for the boss anyway, helpful for the waves, but not for the boss. And then his passive, when it gets hit, he has a chance of placing HP burn again, and he does have a nice increased accuracy in all battles. And that comes in handy in Doom Tower if you're struggling to get those higher accuracies. That's why we put him as lead in this particular battle. And then he's the one we came down the offensive tree down to Helm Smasher. And of course we want him to counterattack, putting on, doing as much damage as he possibly can, plus putting on the burns. So that is Drexar, and those are the 5 champs for tackling the Griffon. So for Secret Room 3, we used Magnar. He is in a Cruel and Savage set. He is one of my arena nukers. 76,000 HP, 2,100 defense, 192 speed, 100% crit rate, and 225% crit damage. He is booked. Chance of placing decreased defense on his A1. What's that book up to? 45, 55, 65%. His A2 is his big hitter, attacks all enemies and places an extra hit if they do not have HP burn, or a chance of placing stun if they do have HP burn. And that is his big hitter. And then a debuff spread on all enemies under HP burn debuffs. Anyway, we don't care about his A3, but it does hit really hard. And then the passive heals this champ by 1% of their max HP every time anyone in battle takes damage from an HP burn. He does have increased defense and Doom Tower battles by 30%, which can come in handy, especially in this particular case. And we just came down here to Helm Smasher on the offensive side, and down the support tree there. So that is Drexar. Discard the Sigils. He's in Perception and Lifesteal, mostly used for Faction Wars, and that's about it. 54,000 HP, 4,100 defense, 188 speed, 286 accuracy. He is booked, can place decreased attack. Attacks all enemies, has a chance of placing a provoke, also placing a shield. Almost fully booked on that one, but I managed to get through Faction Wars, so I just kind of quit. And then he can place a increased defense and increased attack on all allies, so that does come in handy. Fills the turn meter whenever an enemy attacks under a provoke or increase attack buff, so you can get around to going again quicker. And of course, for faction crypts, has a defensive aura. His masteries just came down here to War Master, and then the support tree. Don't really use him too much, but he was built. So, all right, Farakan is in a cruel and then a crit damage, and then 2 random pieces. 34 KHP, 3700 attack, 2000 defense, 183 speed, 105 crit weight, 167 crit damage, and 253 accuracy. He's somewhat built for clan boss. I don't use him too much anymore. He used to be really fast for arena. I used him a lot as in a blender team back in the day, but not so much anymore. But he has decreased defense, and he's fully booked on his A1. Attacks an enemy, has a chance to place an HP burn and 2 poisons. Fully booked on his A2. Places a 30% increased crit rate and 30% increased crit damage buff on all allies for 3 turns. And then has all the allies attack a single target enemy. This is where he was used in arena. And he can also be used in clan boss. And then deflects 20% of the incoming damage this champion receives onto all allies. The damage will be spread equally across all the allies. So I guess his lack of armor, he needs to spread the wealth there. And then we just came down to War Master for typical clan boss build and chances to counterattack. So that is Farakan. And then we have Melga next. Not even built out, but still 61,000 HP, 2,000 defense, 159 speed, 228 resistance. So you want her faster, higher resistance if you're going to use her in Doom Tower. She's not going to hit that hard. And, you know, it's nice to remove a random debuff, but not mission critical. For her, big thing, shield, continuous heal. You'd like that booked out. And then revives 2 allies with some HP and turn meter, as well as shields again. You'd like that booked out. Small but helpful little HP in all battles aura. And then her masteries down to defensive tree and the support tree with timely intervention. We want to get back around to placing shields or reviving as fast as we can. So that is Melga, built completely as a CC champion. She hits like a wet noodle anyway. And lastly, Vogoth, who's not completely built either. Perception, obviously missing another piece of Immortal set, but still 63,000 HP, 2,600 defense, 191 speed, and 317 accuracy. So if you can build them with accuracy, go for it. Not booked. He does have a 3-hitter on his A1 that can increase the duration of any debuff. The reason I say accuracy is because he can tackle enemies and place a provoke. Also has a chance of placing decreased attack. Of course, his passive is whenever he's attacked, heals all allies by 50% of the damage, 25% when going against bosses. That's why you want high HP to spread it. When attacked, can also place a leech. And if the attacker is under a provoke placed by this champion, has a 70% chance of increasing the cooldown of a random skill on attacker as well. Increase accuracy in all battles by 40, not the greatest, but is helpful if needed. He's kind of tanky, and you want him tanky, so Bulwark, because you want him taking the damage, getting hit, and spreading the wealth. And then Spirit Haste. Not that it helps too much, but it can be helpful, speeding up any dead allies, so that he can spread his HP heals there to anybody left alive. And that is the 5 champs for Secret Room 3. Have a nice day.